Welcome back to another episode of Malone Bailey's official podcast, Everybody Counts. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Raven Fournier, the Public Relations Coordinator here at Malone Bailey. And just to kind of give everybody another little overview of what our podcast is, our podcast features various perspectives on a variety of topics. We cover things like the latest SEC and FASB updates to discussions on firm culture, practice management, and more. Our podcast really explores the trends and hot topics that affect us and those in our business. We invite you to tune in, and you'll be able to hear from partners and staff alike. The conversation is versatile, and everybody's input counts. I am delighted today to be joined by one of Malone Bailey's Audit Seniors, Qing Gong, to discuss facts and fictions on preparing for and taking the CPA exam. So this topic today is really going to be for those of you still in school or recently out of school and studying to take your CPA exam. So we're excited to cover that today. Welcome, Qing.
Hi, Raven. Thanks for having me as a guest today. I'm excited to discuss my experiences in taking the CPA exam.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your background, Qing.
Sure. I am an Audit Senior here at Malone Bailey. I joined the firm in September 2015 after graduating with my master's degree from Texas A&M University. I am originally from China, and I enjoy traveling in my free time.
Awesome. I would think you do enjoy traveling. Where in China are you from?
From the central part.
Okay, nice. So I've heard, is it the central part that the weather is similar to here?
Yes, it is.
Houston?
Pretty similar.
Okay, so you're used to the hotness and the humidity.
Yes.
Okay, well, great. So, Qing, I know you recently passed all 4 parts of your CPA exam last September, so September of 2016. Congratulations on that huge accomplishment. A lot of people work really hard to get through that, and we know that there's a lot of studying involved. Since this is all pretty fresh on your memory, I think you're going to be a great resource for us to speak with about this topic today. We're going to discuss the different well-known myths about the CPA exam. So I'm sure you probably heard some of these while you were in school and were scared. And then once you go through and actually take the exams, you see what is true, what isn't true. We'll also get some of your personal experiences, what you did while studying for the CPA exam and taking the actual exam. And before we get started, I think most of our listeners will know what the CPA exam, but let's just give them an overview. So can you give them a quick explanation of what the CPA exam is?
Sure. First, CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant, and becoming a CPA is the only licensed qualification in accounting. Those seeking to obtain this license must complete a 4-part, 16-hour test within 18 months of each other. The exam is meant to protect the public interest by helping to ensure only qualified individuals become licensed as U.S. CPAs. So most state boards of accountancy require candidates to complete 150 semester credits before they can take the exam. I know the Texas State Board required that. Mm-hmm. Within the 150 credits, there must be a minimum of a bachelor's degree along with specified accounting and business courses from a college that the board recognized as being accredited.
Okay, so you had to go through 150 credit hours of school, and that's usually done with a bachelor's, and then most people go on to get their master's to get that 150 hours?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So thank you for that explanation. Now that we've defined what the test is, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is just name a different myth that you might hear or have heard. And when I'm done, if you could just kind of give me an explanation of your thoughts on whether it's fact or fiction and your experiences. So first, fact or fiction, participants rarely pass the CPA exam.
I think that one is definitely a fiction. So according to the American Institute of CPAs, the 2016 passing rates ranged from between 46% and 56%. So some people might have to take more than once, but that's okay. My best advice here would be you have to make a plan. Mm-hmm. You have to schedule when you will take each test and how long you will need to prepare or study for the test and how many hours a day you have to study for the test. So planning and being prepared will help you pass all 4 parts the first time.
Is that what you did? Did you just set a plan and really kind of stick to it?
Yes.
I imagine that might be hard to stick to sometimes when you have social activities in your life and work. So how were you able to stick to your plan?
So first you have to have a plan, and you just need to make your work done as soon as possible. Then you'll have a lot of time to study for it.
Okay. Well, good to know. Next one, fact or fiction. I need a 75% on each of the 4 parts to pass the exam.
That one is also a fiction. Each of the 4 sections of exam is graded differently. So getting 75% of the questions correct on the exam does not translate to a score of 75.
Okay, so I can see how that might be a little bit confusing to some people to think that, well, if they get a 75 on each of the 4 parts, they'll pass, but that's not necessarily true. Okay, interesting. So number 3, fact or fiction. If you take the most difficult tests first, the rest of the tests will be easy.
I think that one is also a fiction. There's not any one section that is particularly harder than the rest. Each section will require the same amount of thinking and hard work to pass. This could also be based on individual preference. So some may think FAR is hard while others think it's easy. So personally, I did FAR first. Then I did BEC, audit, and I did regulation the last. And I would do it again if I had the chance.
In that order?
Yes,
okay.
In that order.
Gotcha. So which one for you was the toughest?
I think FAR is the hardest one. It took me about 2 months to study for it.
Wow. Good for you for getting through all of that. So participants don't have to take the test in any particular order. You can choose which parts you want to take first, second, third, fourth.
No, they don't. They can take the test in whatever orders they would prefer.
Okay, so that's good to know. So at least they're given some sort of options in taking the test. Next one, number 4, fact or fiction. Exam scores are curved according to the performance of other candidates taking the same section as you.
This one is also a fiction. Every candidate's score is entirely independent of other candidates' exam results. The exam is a criterion referenced examination, so it means it rests upon predetermined standards. Every candidate's performance is measured against established standards to determine whether the candidate has demonstrated the level of knowledge and skills that is represented by the passing score. So every candidate is judged against the same standards, and every score is an independent result.
Interesting. That's crazy to think that there are people out there that think that it might be curved. I mean, this is a very standardized national test. So, but I guess when you're in school and you hear things, you kind of hope for the best and the worst. Okay, one last final fact or fiction. So CPAs and accountants really deal with numbers all day. So you have to be good at math, right?
No, I think that one is also fiction. Most of the math you do as CPA or as accountant is pretty simple, just addition and subtraction. You can also use spreadsheet or calculator to do it. So there isn't much that needs to be done in your head. And there's no algebra or calculus here as well.
Oh, no calculus. That's good to hear. Did you take calculus at all in college even?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, goodness. Well, thank you for all of those answers. Were any of these ones that you had heard or myths that you had heard while you were in college?
Yes.
Yeah. So were you thankful to find out that not all of them were true or some of them were?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Last segment, moving on. This is our final part. This is our this or that section. So what I'm going to do is ask you or give you 2 options. And what you need to do is just respond to me quick fire with the first one that comes to your head and what you prefer, okay? So first one, shopping or sports?
Shopping.
Where do you like to shop at?
The Galleria.
The Galleria, yeah. Hey, the Galleria is pretty nice. It's a good thing about Houston. Okay, watching TV or listening to music?
Watching TV.
Yeah? What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite TV show?
Friends.
Friends? Have you seen all of the seasons?
Very typical, yes. I've seen that multiple times.
Multiple times. It's a pretty good show. You really can't. That's like a classic. And last one, ping pong or Jenga?
Jenga.
Jenga.
It's a surprise.
Yeah. Are you good at it?
A little bit.
A little? Yeah. Well, we have our big giant Jenga out on the patio. I know people don't bring it out too often, but it is fun to play. You just have to be careful with those huge blocks. They're huge. Okay, well, great. Thank you again for helping us debunk these myths today, Qing. Hopefully our listeners learned a little bit of truth to some of those myths that will help them prepare for the CPA exam. We appreciate everyone out there listening and invite you all to check out our website, www.malonebailey.com, for more information about public company audit services, as well as other useful resources. Thanks again to Qing for coming on today.
Thank you, Raven.
And we'll see everybody next time.